Welcome back to English Chunk Practice. I'm Jake.
And I'm Sarah. And today's word is one that I think every single person listening has both experienced and done to someone else, probably within the last 24 hours.
It's the word for that push, that nudge, that persistent little voice, whether it comes from someone else or from somewhere deep inside you that says, "Come on, do it. Just go for it."
And sometimes you listen, and sometimes you don't. And the consequences of both decisions make for some very good stories.
Sarah, what's the word today?
Urging.
Urging. Not urgent, though there's a family resemblance there. Urging. The act of pushing someone or yourself towards something.
And by the end of this episode, you'll have 5 really natural ways to use it that will make you sound completely fluent. Let's go.
So, at its core, urging is about persuasion with energy behind it. It's not a casual suggestion. It's not a passing comment. When someone is urging you to do something, they mean it. They've thought about it. They keep coming back to it. There's a persistence to it.
And that's what separates urging from just suggesting. If I say, hey, you should try that restaurant sometime, that's a suggestion. But if I bring it up every time I see you, I explain why I think it would be good for you, I send you the menu, I offer to book the reservation, that's urging.
There's weight to it. There's repetition to it. The person doing the urging genuinely wants the outcome. They're invested.
And what I find really interesting about this word is that it works in both directions. Someone can urge you from the outside, a friend, a mentor, a colleague, but you can also experience urging from the inside, that gut feeling, that instinct, that inner pull that you can't quite explain, but also can't quite ignore.
The outer push and the inner pull, both are urging. Same word, two completely different sources.
And we've all felt both. Let's get into the chunks. Chunk 1, at the urging of someone.
This phrase describes a situation where you took an action specifically because another person strongly and repeatedly suggested that you should. It gives credit, or sometimes blame, to the person who pushed you.
And I love this chunk because it's incredibly honest. It's you saying, I didn't necessarily think of this myself, or I was hesitant, but someone kept pushing me and eventually I listened. At the urging of my mentor, I finally sent the proposal. At the urging of my team, I finally took a day off. At the urging of my friends, I finally published the project I had been sitting on for 6 months.
The world has genuinely benefited from people urging other people to share their work. A lot of things that exist and matter only exist because someone kept pushing the creator until they finally listened.
Chunk 2, urging someone to do something. This is the active, ongoing version. You're in the middle of the process. You haven't given up. You keep going back and making the case. You're not demanding, you're not forcing, but you are consistently, persistently trying to convince someone to make a move.
This one shows up a lot in professional life. I keep urging my colleague to document his process before he forgets the details. I've been urging my client to update their website for 3 months. My manager keeps urging the team to communicate problems earlier instead of waiting until they escalate.
And the key thing about this chunk is the word keep. You keep urging someone. It implies it's not a one-time thing. You've said it before. You'll probably say it again because you can see something they might not be seeing yet, and you care enough about the outcome to keep making the case.
Which takes patience, by the way. Urging someone repeatedly without becoming frustrated or pushy is actually a real skill.
Chunk 3. An inner urging or a strong urging. And this one is my personal favorite because it moves the word entirely out of the social world and into something much more internal and instinctive. An inner urging is that powerful, almost unexplainable gut feeling that tells you to do something, even when logic hasn't quite caught up yet.
This is the feeling that wakes you up at 2 in the morning with an idea. The feeling that makes you open your notebook in the middle of a conversation because something just clicked. The feeling that makes you take a different route home for no particular reason, or reach out to someone you haven't spoken to in a year because something just keeps pulling you toward it.
And it's different from logic. Logic says, it's late, you're tired, go to sleep. But the inner urging says, no, just finish this one thing. Just write this one paragraph. Just sketch this one idea before it disappears. And sometimes you listen to it, and something remarkable comes from it.
The inner urging doesn't always make sense in the moment, but looking back, it very often turns out to have been right, which is what makes it so hard to ignore and so worth paying attention to.
Chunk 4. Despite my urgings. This is the phrase you use when you did everything right. You saw the problem, you said something, you said it more than once, you made the case clearly, and the other person completely ignored you and did exactly what they wanted anyway. And then, usually, exactly what you warned about actually happened.
This chunk has a very specific emotional texture to it. It's not angry exactly. It's more like a quiet, weary, slightly resigned, "I told you so." Despite my urgings to back up the files, he lost everything when the laptop crashed. Despite my urgings to slow down, she burned out completely by month 3. Despite my urgings to read the contract carefully, he signed something he didn't fully understand.
And what makes this phrase so useful is that it doesn't sound aggressive or self-righteous. It just states the fact plainly. You urged, they didn't listen, here we are. It acknowledges your effort without turning it into an argument.
It's the mature version of "I told you so."
Exactly. You get to be right without being insufferable about it.
And the 5th chunk, gentle urging. And this one is softer than everything else we've talked about today. Gentle urging is persuasion with kindness behind it. You're not pushing hard, you're not repeating yourself aggressively. You're just offering a quiet, warm, consistent nudge in a direction you believe is good for someone.
This one matters a lot when the person you're trying to help is nervous or vulnerable or doubting themselves. Sometimes someone doesn't need a lecture or a list of reasons or a full strategy. They just need one person to gently and warmly say, I think you can do this. I think you should try. Just once. Just see what happens.
A good teacher does this. A good mentor does this. A good friend does this. They don't bulldoze you into action. They don't make you feel bad for hesitating. They just stay close, stay encouraging, and keep the door open with gentle urging until you're ready to walk through it yourself.
And sometimes that gentle urging is the most powerful kind, precisely because it doesn't feel like pressure. It feels like belief. And when someone believes in you quietly and consistently, it's very hard not to eventually start believing in yourself, too.
Okay, stories. And I want to start with "at the urging of someone," because I have one that genuinely changed the direction of something important for me.
Tell me everything.
So, a few years ago, I had been writing a newsletter, just for myself almost, a small list, maybe 60 people, mostly friends and people I'd met at events. I didn't think of it as anything serious. I thought of it as just a writing habit. And I had a friend who kept telling me to submit one of the pieces to a proper publication. And I kept saying no, it's not ready, it's not that kind of writing, nobody wants to read this.
And let me guess, he kept urging you.
Every few weeks, for about 4 months, the same thing, different words each time. Just send one piece. Just try once. What's the actual worst thing that happens? And eventually, at the urging of this very persistent friend, I submitted one piece. It got published. That one publication led to 3 others. Those 3 others led to a speaking invitation. That invitation led to a consulting project that paid for 6 months of my life.
All of that came from one person urging you past your own hesitation.
All of it. And the work was already done. It was sitting there, finished. I just needed someone to keep urging me until I believed it was worth sharing.
That story is everything. Okay, mine is about an inner urging, and I want to be honest, this one felt almost irrational at the time. I was in a perfectly fine job, stable, good salary, reasonable hours, and I kept having this inner urging to start something of my own. Not a clear plan, not a fully formed idea, just this persistent feeling that wouldn't leave me alone no matter how much I tried to be sensible and rational and grateful for what I had.
The inner urging doesn't really respond to logic, does it?
It does not. I tried to argue with it. I made lists of reasons why staying was the smart choice. I genuinely tried to talk myself out of it for about a year. And the inner urging just sat there patiently and waited for me to stop arguing. Eventually, I stopped arguing, and I listened to it. And here I am.
Here you are.
And I am not saying it all went smoothly. It didn't. There was a very long and genuinely difficult, awkward phase. And yes, I'm using last episode's word deliberately.
The word unlocked cinematic universe is expanding.
But the inner urging was right. It almost always is, if you're honest with yourself about it. Okay, despite my urgings, and this one is a story about a friend, not me, because I promised I'd never tell it about her publicly, but I'm going to anyway, because it's too good, and also she'll never listen to this podcast.
Perfect reasoning. Go ahead.
She was launching a small online shop. I urged her, multiple times, with evidence, with examples, to test the checkout process before going live. Just go through it yourself once, I said. Pretend you're a customer. Click the buttons. Make sure the payment goes through. She said, yes, I'll do it. She did not do it. She announced the launch, posted about it everywhere, sent it to her entire email list, and the payment button didn't work for 6 hours. 6 hours of people trying to buy things and hitting a broken button.
Oh no.
Despite my urgings. That's all I said when she called me. Just those 3 words. Despite my urgings.
Did she laugh?
Eventually, once the button was fixed and the order started coming through, she laughed a lot, actually, and she has never launched anything without testing the checkout first since that day.
Sometimes the lesson only lands once it costs you something. And the last story, and this one is about gentle urging, and it's probably the most meaningful one. I had a student once when I was doing some tutoring work years ago. Incredibly sharp, genuinely one of the most naturally curious people I've ever taught. But she would not speak in class, not once. She understood everything. Her written work was excellent, but the moment she had to say something out loud in a group, she would go completely silent.
Anxiety?
Probably, but I didn't push. I didn't put her on the spot. I didn't make it a big thing. I just, every session, found one small moment to quietly say, I'd love to hear your thought on this one. No pressure, just when you're ready. And I meant it genuinely. No pressure, just the door open.
Gentle urging.
About 8 weeks in, she answered a question. One sentence. And the quality of that one sentence was better than everything anyone else had said in the entire lesson. And she looked up after she said it, and I just nodded. Didn't make a huge deal of it. And by the end of the course, she was one of the most confident voices in the room. Not because I pushed her, because I kept the door open gently and consistently until she was ready to walk through it herself.
That might be the best story you've ever told on this podcast.
Gentle urging. It works. It just requires patience.
All right, let's bring it home. Urging, the act of pushing, persuading, or pulling someone, or yourself, towards something with real energy and persistence behind it. Not a casual suggestion, something with weight, with repetition, with genuine investment in the outcome.
Your 5 power chunks. At the urging of someone, taking action because another person pushed you there, urging someone to do something, the ongoing active process of persistent persuasion, an inner urging or strong urging, that instinctive gut-level pull you feel from inside yourself. Despite my urgings, when you warned someone, they ignored you and the consequences arrived right on schedule, and gentle urging. Soft, kind, consistent encouragement that respects someone's pace while keeping the door open.
Today's homework: think about someone in your life who could use a little urging right now. Not pushing, not pressuring, just a genuine, warm nudge in a direction you can see is good for them. Send them a message. Say the thing you've been meaning to say. Sometimes one small urging at exactly the right moment changes everything.
And if there's something you've been feeling an inner urging about, something you keep talking yourself out of, maybe today is the day you stop arguing with it.
The urging is usually right.
It usually is. Thanks for listening to English Chunk Practice. See you in the next episode.
Stay curious, keep